Undrai Fizer, and welcome to Profoundly Speaking with yours truly. Glad that you're on, glad that you've been blessed by everything, glad that from the letters and emails that I'm receiving, glad that you're being blessed by the books, uh, the Facebook posts, and everything that we're producing, our website, our app especially. Thank you so much. I'd like to thank everyone who's downloaded the Fizer Integral app that you can get absolutely free from the App Store or the Google stores. And it comes complete with different sayings and power sparks and podcasts and videos and books and everything. So I really thank you for it. Also, we have a blog on that's new, and we have a new interglobal men's group that's on the app too. Those of you who are members of it, keep checking it out. Wherever there is a will, there is a way. And whenever there is a way, there are resources. God does not leave us lacking resources. But if I'm not looking for purpose, I'm not going to find the resources. Whatever I'm in tune with, I find. Whatever I'm in tune with, I find. Whatever I am in tune with, I find. You feel what I'm saying? It's not a matter of searching. It's what I'm in tune with, because when I'm in tune, I don't have to look for it. It finds me because that's where I am. Thank you, Father, for everything. And listen, before we get into the lesson, God knows everything. God knows what's happening in the world. God knows what's happening in the universe, but he also knows what's happening in his children. I don't have to beg God and say, God, do you see what's happening? God not only knows what's happening in the world, God knows what's happening in his children. God knows what's happening in everyone that's his. God knows what's happening in our hearts. Therefore, he knows why things are happening in the earth. Things are not just happening to happen. He knows what's happening in us, and he knows what's not happening within us. Whatever is not happening in us reveals itself in the earth. Whatever is not at peace with us, it'll show in the world. Whatever is not settled in us, it will show in the unsettledness of the earth. And many of God's people are not settled within themselves. You see, it's not a matter of teachers can teach you how to live this life. No teacher teaches us how to live ourselves. We live ourselves based on what we love within ourselves. We live ourselves based on what we believe about ourselves within ourselves. And it sounds like me talking and being philosophical, but I'm telling the truth. We live what we see in ourselves. And I'm going to say something. I'm going to share just a few things. I'm not going to hold you long. We need to understand this and ask ourselves this. Are we seeking holiness or happiness? Are we seeking holiness or happiness? Are we finding happiness in our holiness? Listen, are we seeking holiness or happiness? A lot of us are failing in holiness because we don't have happiness. A lot of us are failing in vision because we lack happiness. And happiness, we are trying to attribute happiness to a holiness that we're really not really with, but I'm trying to connect the happiness of my life to a holiness that I could kind of do without. Listen, are you understanding? Are we seeking holiness or happiness? A lot of us are unsettled because we lack happiness within our holiness. We are unsettled because the happiness hasn't created, our lack of happiness hasn't created settledness, which gives us a language and a security and a surety and a wisdom and a continuation. When I am happy because of holiness, I can continue in the faith. I continue in the faith. Am I seeking happiness or holiness? Or am I finding happiness with my holiness? The holiness that I'm exuding, is it making me happy and settled? Not just laughing, happiness, settled, blessed, secure, straight, strong, focused, complete, consistent, moving forward, progressing. When I'm happy, I'm continual. When I'm happy, I keep moving. When I'm happy, I'm not just satisfied and done. When I'm happy with holiness, I continue, I continue, I continue. I just don't stop and say, well, I didn't have anything to say. Because when you're happy with holiness, you always have something new to say. You always have something new to speak. And no teacher, no pastor, no prophet, no apostle, no evangelist can teach you to be happy with holiness. Holiness is talked about every 7 days. Holiness is the strength of life. Holiness, the nature of God, is the strength of being, the strength of life. It's not a matter of daily laughter. It's not a matter of daily joy, jumping in the air, but it's the daily continuation of purpose. Wherever there is holiness, there is happiness. Wherever there is happiness, there is something to say, something to speak. You're never without anything. Why? Because when God designed you and me, God designed us to go as far as God. Sometimes when we're not happy, we'll only go as far as we're willing. But when God designed every one of us, we have the capacity to go as far as God. Whatever God designs has the ability to go as far as God. You and I have the capacity to go as far as God. Not as far as you're willing, not as far as your knowledge, not as far as your capability, not as far as what you know. We have the strength to go as far as God. We have the endurance of God. Whatever God makes has God's endurance. So are you seeking happiness or holiness? Are you finding happiness in your holiness? Are you seeking happiness or holiness? Are you unhappy with holiness? Are you unhappy with holiness? Is holiness just something about God? Or is holiness the wholeness of who you are? Is holiness just something good about Jesus? Or is holiness the wholeness of an anointed life? What is holiness? You don't need nobody to sit you down and show you the difference. You don't need anybody to sit you down and explain the difference. Your life is living the difference. Your life is sharing the difference. Once again, are you seeking happiness or holiness? Are you unhappy? Are you unhappy with your holiness? Are you unhappy in holiness? Are you depressed while holy? Is holy what you put on? Is holy what you say? Is holy the worship tapes and CDs you play? Is holiness a time of reading the Bible? Or is holiness the wholeness of God being exuded in your daily life? What is holiness? Is it just doing everything the right way? Does holiness have anything to do with how you're doing or what you're being? Is what you're being making you happy? Is what you're being producing power? Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly. Are you feeling blessed by not walking in the counsel of those who are dark, or those who can't see? Are you finding happiness because you're walking in the counsel of the godly? Or are you feeling happy to be with the godly? Not just with the Christian or the churchy, but the godly, those who are full of the joy of God, the power of God, the discipline of God, the momentum of God, the continuation of God, the holiness of God. Are you seeking happiness or holiness? Are you unhappy with your holiness? Are you unhappy with yourself? Are you unhappy today with yourself? Are you stuck? Are you in the blahs? Are you stuck? What's keeping you stuck? What's keeping you in between emotions? What's keeping you? What are you afraid of? What are you afraid of? Are you seeking holiness or happiness? Talk to me by a show of hands. Do you know the difference? I know many of you are writing in the comments. You're writing what I'm saying. You're echoing what I'm saying. But what do you believe? I see you saying what I'm saying. But what do you believe and what do you think? Echoing me and giving my notes back to me is cool. But what is your life agreeing with? What is your life saying? Don't hide don't hide away. Don't avoid learning for the sake of writing. What do you believe? Are you seeking happiness or holiness? Are you feeling unhappy with holiness? Is holiness leading you on a wild goose chase? Are you looking for a book to see what to do? Are you looking for something to see what to do? Are you at peace with God? Are you at peace with you? Because God exists for me as me. God is existing to me as me. God exists as me. Are you finding peace in your presence? Are you finding happiness in your presence? Are you finding it? Are you truly seeking holiness or happiness? Do you think you know what holiness is? Because whenever we walk in the happiness of God, through the holiness of God, we don't run out. We don't run out. We don't run out. Are we seeking holiness or happiness? Are we happy with this holiness? Because whatever we live, we don't need anyone to show us. You don't need anyone to show you how to live. You don't need anybody else to give you no assignment on what to do so you can do something. Happiness with holiness will always give you and I something to do, something to be, and somewhere to go. Happiness in our divine makeup will always give us something to do, always give us somewhere to be, always gives us something to say, something to observe, something to give, because I am a happy soul. Before I let you go, are you happy with holiness? 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 Are you seeking happiness outside of holiness? What are we as God's children seeking after? And what do we want? And what are we producing? How are we existing today and in this moment? Yeah. It's a big difference. Because when we are happy with holiness, we produce happy results. We're not stuck at decisions. We're not knowing we need to make a decision while fearing the decision. We are busy living in the afterglow of making the decision. We're busy living in the afterglow of choosing the right way to go, choosing the power, choosing the power, choosing the reality. So before I let you go, Are you seeking holiness or happiness? Are you happy with holiness? Are you happy with holiness? Because a lot of times we say, I'm not happy with my life, as though it's a life that differs from holiness, as though holiness is an option or a study, but then there is our life. Are we still living lives, or are we living a life of holiness? And this life of holiness producing happiness in our life? Is the holiness life different from our life and experience? Or are we still contending with two realities of living? Holy life, divine life, and our life. Or has Christ become our fullness of life? Or are we still living a life with alternatives? Yeah. Yeah. Are you happy with it today? Are you happy in the reality of it today? Yeah. What do you say about that? What do you believe about that? Are you happy in holiness today? Or are you seeking happiness? Are you still trying to understand it? Or are you living what's making you free? Hey, have a great week. For those of you who are registrants to the Keys to Practice and Purpose, we have, I think, 2 modules to go. We're going to be on Module 8 Tuesday for those who are involved in it. Also, be on the lookout for my new book. I have a new book that'll be published soon. It's going to be really great. It's going to be different. Powerful sayings for the leader. That's why I'm still figuring out the title, but you will get it. It's going to be in the next month or so. It's going to be good. Also, keep looking. I don't have to tell you to keep looking within. Because whenever you're happy with your soul, you're always looking there. Whenever you're in a happy relationship with your soul, you know everything in it. Whenever you are in a happy relationship with your own self, you know everything that's in yourself. You know everything that's going on in yourself when you're at peace with you. You know everything that's going on. There is nothing lost when you're at peace with you. You don't run out of anything. So think about that. I'm Undrai Fizer. Keep living your best life. Keep living your greatest discovery. Hey, if you have a free will offering or investment, you can give to our Cash App at $Coach Fizer, $Coach Fizer, or you give through Zelle or through the Make a Financial Investment through the app. Okay? Whatever is your love. Okay? Peace. Bye-bye.